Hey, it's Sweeney.
And I'm director Michael Mohan.
And we're with Fandango, and we are going to break down a scene from Immaculate. So Sister Cecilia has found herself in a convent in Italy. She left the States because her parish closed down, and she's looking for a place that she can better serve God and find her place, and she winds up in the middle of nowhere. And she's been here for a little bit of time. She started to become friends with the other sisters there, and she starts to feel sick. Things start to happen. And in this scene, she is getting a random sonogram. She doesn't know why.
You are with child. Questo bambino è stato concepito senza peccato. Dio è testimone. Abbiamo assistito a un miracolo. He believes you. It's a miracle.
I think it all goes back to the premise of the movie, which you championed for years, right?
I did. I just thought that it was such an interesting concept of the horror and the fears and the terror all stemming from reality and the possibilities of the unknown. So for the Immaculate Conception concept, it was truly, I mean, the writer Andrew LaBelle, he kind of mastered up this entire idea, and it was so thought out and almost too thought out that when I first read it, I was 16, I could not stop and think, I couldn't stop and not think, could this be possible?
It's also one of those things where you can't escape it.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't run away from something growing inside you.
Exactly,
you know?
And it's something that it's like a ticking time bomb almost. And I love when a character is trapped but then has to kind of brainstorm and figure out a way out of something that she did not think that she was going to be put into. We talked about Rosemary's Baby quite often for this.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Rosemary's Baby is that it's so intimate, and you're so with Mia Farrow, and similar to this, you're in every single scene except for the prologue. The intimacy is juxtaposed by this real sense of cinematic scope, and I think that's what we wanted to bring to this, is to make it feel iconic and make it feel kind of huge and otherworldly, because the gravity of what's happening to her is just so massive.
Out of all the women in the world, why did he choose me?
You told me. Who saved your life? Who sent you on the path that led you here, Cecilia? You've been searching for a reason. God saved you. This is it. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
Alvaro, he's so trusting. Like, he's a very trusting actor where I met him a day before I came to Italy to start location scouting. When I met him, I knew that he was the one. I landed.
Yes. You were like, I met Father Tedeschi. His name is Alvaro Morte. Go watch everything he's ever done.
Yeah.
I had been already familiar with Money Heist and was like, oh yeah.
And I could not stop saying he's the right person for this role. And so we finally were able to get a hold of him and his team. We sent the script. We all got on a Zoom and we talked about the project, and he loved it, which was incredible. And he was so just excited, and he has so many ideas.
Yeah.
And then on set, he was just such a go along with it, trusting actor, which is amazing to have as a scene partner, because especially in a horror film, you never know what's gonna happen. And we just found different nuances within the scenes. But this one in particular was actually one of our hardest ones to try and like place and figure out.
The goal with that scene was just to make it feel intimate. And I knew it didn't have to be placed in a, you know, it was in the Cardinal's office, but that room just happened to have the best light, the best natural light.
It was our favorite room.
Yeah, and we only had like 2 hours to shoot it, so that's also, you know,
it was the quickest place that we could set up the shot.
Yeah.
So we were trying to brainstorm, okay, where can we just set up really quick, don't have to have a lot of grip come in and light.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I also love, like, in that two shot of you, like when he leans in, there's something almost predatory about it.
I always felt like he almost looked like a beast. Like
Yeah.
it was almost like a devil in a way coming down and about to eat her up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Sanctus, Sanctus Dominus, Pater immense majestatis. Sanctus, Sanctus Dominus, tu Pater sempiter.
I remember when we first got the sketches for, it was like a very preliminary lookbook of all of Cecilia and the other characters' costumes. And this was the one that we had multiple different versions, but I always knew that it needed to be this Mother Mary, bigger than life moment for Cecilia, because she's never been important to anybody. And it was just such a big concept and very heavy thing to process. But this entire shot in this scene, I remember when I was filming Handmaid's Tale, it was like the one thing I always saw in my head was this big, huge moment. That's why I always fought for having the big church and the more immaculate landscape of it all. And it was one of the most beautiful shots.
It's my favorite shot I've ever
I mean,
directed.
Elijah is just incredible.
Elijah Christian.
He just, what he does, it's incredible.
It's also really hard to light a shot like that, because one of the things that's a little bit nerdy, but like Sid's face can handle a wide angle lens like some other actors can't. You know, like we were on like a 23 millimeter lens, so the camera's like right in your face. And then we pull out to a giant wide shot, so it's really hard to actually set the lights to make the close-up
And
look
what
pretty.
Elijah had the hardest time with was also the actual church lighting. Remember
that's right.
We could not, because it was a real church, there were these chandeliers that were hanging everywhere and actual lights that were attached to the church that we could not control. So we were having a really hard time.
Some of them were like green, some of them were blue. And
like controlling the coloring and the light while we were filming.
Yeah.
But I think he did.
Yeah. And originally that shot lived the whole, like, we actually had to cut into it because, you know, at a certain point, you know, you have to service the story versus serving, like, doing something impressive as a director. And so this was one of the sort of kill your darling moments, but I think it's much better for the scene. And I think just so everybody knows out there, that one pullout was all one take at one point, but, you know, it's better this way.
And I'd also would like to say my grandmas are in this scene.
Yes. They did a great job.
They did a great job. They were extras in it.
Yeah, right in the front row, when you're pushing over her head, in the front row to the right, that's where they are, and I really appreciate it. They were in the voyeurs as well, but this time they didn't look into the camera.
Yes,
so I really appreciate
the
that.
voyeurs, we could not get them to not look into the camera, but they did better this time.
They did better this time.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to people discovering this side of you. You know, you've never gone this feral. You know, you've never gone this wild, and I think people are going to be blown out of their chairs by the end of this film. I mean, honestly, that's what I'm most excited about.
Thank you. I think I'm really excited for people to see a different side of me too.
Yeah.
Sanctus, Sanctus.